Welcome back to GMP Scenario, presented by PharmaContentLabs.com, where we break down common GMP mistakes, inspection risks, and the small control gaps that turn into big observations.
All right, let's talk about something that so many teams think they've got down pat, but, well, they often get it dangerously wrong. I'm talking about change control. Today, we're going to completely reframe how you look at this, okay? We're moving it from just some boring checklist to a system that actually proves you're in a state of sustained control. So, let's dive right in.
Okay, picture this. I bet it's going to sound super familiar. You've got a change, you implement it. The SOP gets updated, check. The team gets their training, check. And then you close out the change record, boom, done. It looks perfect, right? All clean and tidy?
Yeah, on paper, that looks like a total success, doesn't it? Like textbook stuff. But what if I told you it wasn't? What if that perfect change was actually a huge failure just waiting to be discovered?
So fast forward a bit. Quality assurance comes along, takes a peek, and the whole story just falls apart. They find some major omissions. I mean, nobody looked at how the change would impact the validated state? Nope. Nobody reviewed the stability impact. And get this, there was zero documented decision about the regulatory side of things. Just nothing.
So what do you call that? Is that just some minor oversight under GMP? Absolutely not. No way. This is a fundamental breakdown of the process. It's what we call a closure failure. Plain and simple.
So, why this matters and what are the real risks of a paper-thin process? Well, why is this such a big deal? It's because a paper-thin change control process isn't just bad paperwork. It's exposing your company, your product, and even patients to some very, very real risks.
This really hits the nail on the head. Think about that for a second. Without that proper, risk-based thinking up front, you could accidentally just break your validation. You could compromise the quality of your product, or even mess up your regulatory filings. We're talking about incredibly high stakes here. And here's the disconnect, right? On one hand, you're expecting this great process improvement. That's the whole point. But on the other hand, the unintended effects, well, without real control, you start seeing spikes in deviations, out-of-spec results, OOTs, and even weird shifts in customer complaints. So you set out to make things better, but you've actually just created a whole new set of problems.
All right, the 3 key steps, building a framework for sustained control. So how do we fix this whole mess? How do we build a system that actually works? It really boils down to a super clear 3-step framework. Let's get into it.
It all starts with step 1. You've got to do a really thorough impact assessment before you touch anything. Then step 2, you define what success even looks like. These are your verification criteria and your PIR criteria. And finally, step 3, you go and do that post-implementation review after the change is live to prove it all worked.
So let's zoom in on that first step, the impact assessment. What exactly should be on your checklist? Well, you absolutely have to look at the impact on validation, on data integrity, or DI, on your critical quality attributes, the CQAs, and your critical process parameters, or CPPs. But don't stop there. You also need to think about stability, your suppliers, and of course, any regulatory commitments you've made. Okay, let's talk about that post-implementation review, the PIR. And this is so important. A PIR is not just a quick check-in. It's not a, hey, how's it doing kind of thing. It is the formal process of gathering real data to prove 2 things. 1, did the change actually do what we wanted it to do? And 2, is the process now in a state of sustained control? It's all about proof. Okay, next up, a common, costly mistake. And this is the one thing inspectors always check. Seriously, even with a great framework in place, there is one mistake that is so common and so costly. It's a massive red flag for any auditor, and I guarantee inspectors are trained to hunt for this every single time.
And here it is, the flawed timeline. Check this out. Day 1, the change gets implemented. And then, also on day 1, the change gets closed. Wait, what? See the problem? How on earth can you have any data, any proof at all of sustained control on the same day the change went live? It's impossible. You can't. So that crucial piece of evidence, it's just gone, missing.
This brings us to our final section, proving sustained control, and the difference between doing and proving. And really, this is probably the single most important takeaway from our whole conversation today. It's all about a mindset shift from just doing the change to actually proving the change worked.
So, what does that proof actually look like?
It's your paper trail, your documentation trail. Imagine an inspector is sitting across from you and they ask, how did you verify this change was successful? This list, this is your answer. You need to be able to pull out the whole story, the impact assessment, the risk evaluation, every single approval, the verification plan you followed, and then the grand finale, the PIR results with the cold, hard data.
I really want this to sink in for a minute. The goal here isn't just to make the change. That's the easy part. The real goal, the ultimate goal, is to create a rock-solid, auditable record that proves the change was a success and that your process is still under control.
And that brings us to the final question. This is the one I want you to take back to your team. I want you to really look at your own system, your own records, and ask yourselves, is our change control just a checkbox we have to tick off on a list? Or is it a powerful system that genuinely proves we are in control?
If this helped, like and subscribe.